hopefully there'll be some live callers. Join in to discuss how sociable members of SLT should be both during and outside of school. What's it like at your school, and what do you think it should be like? As always, tune in and talk it out, and I'm Liggity live.
Live from London, this is the Sunday Lunch with Kalil Rouse on Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live on the Podbean app or desktop player. Just head over to www.podbean.com/LSW/TT Radio or search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TT Radio.
Good afternoon. As always, can someone in the studio just let me know if I can be heard loud and clear? The sound was a little bit strange in my earphones just now, so it'd be good to just confirm that I can be heard. Those of you that are in the live studio already, the early birds, the keynotes, thank you very much for joining me so promptly. I know most of the kind of listenership, that's not a thing, is it? Audience, listeners, whatever you want to call them, join slightly later than 1 o'clock. The first couple of minutes is usually just me talking to myself. But if you are here and you're listening, please give me a little message in the chat to check that the sound is okay, because the music and the audio and the jingle, that kind of thing, was a little bit strange in my earphones. Right, in today's show, I had an original plan for today's show, and I had to change it fairly last minute. And yeah, so now, as I said in the introduction, there we go. As I said in the introduction, I'm going to be talking eventually about whether the S in SLT should stand for sociable. And I just came up with that off the cuff. I came up with that about 10 seconds ago when I tweeted something literally just now. And that's basically what I'm asking. It obviously has two meanings, but whether it should also stand for sociable. And that could mean during work hours. It could also mean after work hours, Christmas dues, nights out, that kind of stuff. What's the situation in your school? And also, what do you think it should be like with regards to how sociable members of SLT are? So if you're already in the studio, it'd be great to hear your thoughts. I put it out on Twitter earlier today. And again, I was very fortunate to anyone and everyone that responded, interacted, and whatever you want to call it, commented, retweeted, liked, and all that kind of stuff, and gave the tweet a bit of traction, because it meant I got a lot of comments that I'm able to feed on for this show. Because if I hadn't got those comments, boy, it would have just been, if I didn't get the responses on Twitter, it would have just been me talking about my own opinions, and who wants to hear that for between an hour and an hour and a half. So yeah, welcome to the people joining the live studio. Sobi, I see you there, one of my fellow Sunday hosts. She had a show earlier today at 9 a.m. Great as always. Please do listen back. If you want to listen back to my show or Sobia's show or any of the other shows going on Teachers Talk Radio, you need to head to www.ttradio.org/listen back, or head to our Twitter, which is at someone's calling in from the outset, which is crazy. Maybe they don't know how the app works, and just maybe it's let's see. Hello. Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, welcome to Talk Radio Live. You've got me on loudspeaker. I can hear a bit of an echo. How are you this morning? I say this morning, it's afternoon, isn't it? How are you this afternoon?
By God's grace, everything is good. What about you, please?
I'm very well. Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from Ghana.
From Ghana. Excellent. We go global, always global. Are you connected to the education world?
Thank you, sir.
Are you connected to education in some way?
Oh, now that I'm planning to.
You're planning what? What are you planning to? I don't even know your name. Let's get some manners. Sorry, what the so impolite. What's your name?
Okay, please. My name is Prince Akodie Nisi.
What would you like me to call you? What would you like me to call you?
You can call me Prince.
Prince, nice to meet you, Prince. My name is Kalil. You're live on Teachers Talk Radio, and this is where we talk about teaching and education. And today, like you said, are you planning on getting into education?
Yeah.
What, to be a teacher?
Yeah, I want to be a teacher because I teach in church.
What, you talking about Sunday school, or do you teach something else?
Okay, I teach as Sunday school teacher.
Okay. And what you like teaching Sunday school? You think, you know what? If I can do it in church, I can do it in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, understood. No, that's great to hear. So what we're talking about in today's show, maybe you can give me your kind of opinion on this later on. So I don't know how much you know about obviously schools and everything else, but where have you worked in a place? What other jobs have you got at the moment before being a Sunday school teacher? Have you worked in a job where you've got like senior leaders, maybe you've got middle leaders, you've got people lower down the hierarchy? Have you worked in a job like that before?
Okay. No, but please do know something. I'm not even aware that I have been called. I have joined this program. My phone was. I just hear a sound, then I try to check on it. Then
Yeah, did you
when I
mean
read,
question? Did you mean to join the live studio though?
oh yeah.
Yeah, but then
But
you didn't mean to call in. Did you butt dial?
I'm happy to even hear from you. And but do you know something? I want you to educate me something small so that anytime I get opportunity, I can know how to express myself and I can know how to go according to the rules and the regulations and the purpose of this radio
Mm.
program.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are lots of different. Oh wow, that's very loud. I can hear myself in your echo. One second. There are lots of different programs that run through the Podbean app. I imagine they all are different, but we're a live call-in program. So what you did, I know you did it. You didn't do it deliberately. You probably butt dialed, what we call in the UK. You butt dialed into the kind of live studio, but you call in at any time, and depending on what's been spoken about, you can just interact with the host. It's a live talk show. The rule is there are no rules. You can call in at any point. It's not a problem
Hold on, I
as
have a
long as
call.
as long as you're not. Go on.
Hello. I'm handing over to one of my brother. I have a call with my pastor, so I'll come back.
So okay. So are you leaving or are you handing to someone else?
Yeah, someone has taken over.
What's your name? This is all interesting. What's your name?
My name is Victor.
Victor, nice to meet you. I was just talking to Prince. Is Prince your brother?
Yeah, Prince is my brother.
Ah, right. Well, Prince called in to a live talk show about teaching and education. Have you got any connections to teaching or education?
Teaching and education.
Have you got any connections to it?
Sorry?
Have you got any connect? Do you work in education? Are you a teacher? Anything like that?
No, please.
No. Okay. So here's my question to you. Who was your favorite teacher at school and why? That's my question to you. Who's your favorite teacher at school and why?
Who is my favorite teacher in school
Yeah.
and why? Okay, that was my headmaster, Clement.
Shout out to Clement. Wonderful. What was so good about Clement?
Yeah, actually, he was my English teacher and was very disciplined and I used to like English and he was also very good in English. So
Mm.
that's made him to be my one of the best teachers I can talk of.
Excellent. So shout out to head teacher Clement.
Yeah.
Here's my question to you. Do you think the head teacher should socialize with the rest of the staff, maybe at lunchtime, break time, after school? Do you think the head teacher should socialize? Wow, I didn't pronounce that word correctly. Do you think the head teacher should socialize with the other members of staff, or do you think they should keep themselves separate?
Okay. Yeah, socialization is very important, but as a headmaster, to my opinion, he shouldn't just get involved in any any activity or whatever is going on in the school to be respected by either the staffs or the student in school. Once in the blue moon, he can participate in other activities going on in the school. But to my opinion, it's good for him to isolate himself sometimes, yeah, as a headmaster, so that he will be respected as the leader of the school.
Interesting. So you think keeping themselves, well, you say isolate, so slightly separated, is how they can maintain. Do you think that maintain respect? Do you think them getting involved could lead them to lose respect from their colleagues then?
Yeah, you see, familiarity sometimes is very dangerous to me. Yeah, sometimes if you are too familiar with them, always all the time you are with them, they wouldn't all the time respect you as the head of the school. So, to my opinion, he shouldn't just all the time get himself involved in all activities. I think there are some things he can delegate some of the teachers to, do that for him as a headmaster so that he can attend to other duties as a headmaster.
Be interesting. People in the chat, let me know your thoughts. I know the head teachers are a very kind of special position. They're like, we've got senior leaders and you've got the principal. The principal's a top dog, of course. So it is interesting. I know what you're saying about familiarity. Familiarity can breed. It can blur the lines sometimes. But I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just, I feel like I'm able to separate, me personally anyway, able to separate between professional and social. And we can have a joke. I know we can have a joke and a laugh in a social occasion, but I might not be cracking the same jokes in the meetings, for example. I don't know. I feel like I get what you mean by familiarity, but I feel like I'm very hopeful that professional adults can compartmentalize and separate between professional interactions, where they're in meetings around school in front of children, and then when they're out after school or at a social occasion. I hope they could. Well, I'm hoping adults can make the distinction for themselves. But I get what you mean. It's an interesting point about the familiarity. And I think there are some people on Twitter that agree. And I know the head teacher is a special case, but I was saying that we have in my school, well, one of my previous schools, we used to have staff versus students in football. And the head teacher used to get involved in that. And it was great. The kids, everyone loved it. The kids loved it. Staff, even me as staff, we love seeing the head teacher the head teacher's a big football fan. So rather than just kind of like standing on the sidelines, he got involved. He was tackling them. They tackled the head teacher. Everyone was cracking up. It was fun. And that was just nice. And I think even us playing football with the head teacher, we didn't respect him any less. I respected him more, if I'm honest. I thought it was great for him to take part in those kind of occasions.
Okay.
But we've got different opinions, isn't it? We've got different opinions. But yeah, that's good. There's some people I'm going to keep on for a little bit because I like your opinion on it. So Karen's in the chat saying familiarity breeds contempt. Contempt is a strong word. Familiarity breeds contempt. Wowzers. I don't know if I agree, Karen. I feel like you need to call in as well, Karen. I feel like you need to call in as well. And someone else has said school culture should allow a separation between social and professional life. Yeah, I think so as well. I think there should be a clear distinction. You don't want to like socialize in the same way in school as you do outside of school. You don't want that to blur, I guess. That's my thoughts. Do you know what, Victor? I've kept you long enough. Please stay in the live studio and call in at any other point if you feel like you want to contribute anything else. But it's been great talking to you this afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. What time is it over there in Ghana, by the way? What time is it?
Time is it's 12:13 right now.
In the 12th at night?
Day.
Oh yeah, Ghana's like, you're right below the UK geographically, so your time isn't too dissimilar. Fair enough. Okay, so it's middle of the afternoon as well. Okay, thank you very much, Victor.
Are you talking from US?
No, US. You know my accent about US. I live in the UK.
Okay.
Yeah, we've gone cross-continental this afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor. I'm going to disconnect you now, but feel free to stay in the studio. And if you want to call in again, want to bring your opinion forward, then please do anytime.
Okay.
Thank you very much. All the best. Bye-bye.
All right.
Love that. Early callers from across the water. So if you've just joined, I was joined by two people from Ghana. One was called Prince and one was called Victor. Prince, what do you say? He's looking to get into education or become a teacher because he currently teaches at Sunday school. And he thinks, I can do that for more kids. So he wants to become a teacher. And then we've also he just passed the phone over to his brother, Victor, who was also talking to me just now. It was nice. Nice. Wow, that was unexpected. Justin. Oh, I see. Sorry, Karen. I apologize. So Karen said it wasn't her actual point. She was just expanding Victor's thoughts, actually. What I'm going to do, as I usually do, I will run the intro one more time. We've got people in the studio. Then we're going to get into it. So you're hearing the intro, what we're all about. I think some of you have seen on Twitter what the show is all about today. And I'll be very interested to know your thoughts. Hopefully get people to call in. I've got no scheduled callers. So if you guys want to call in, just like Prince and Victor did from Ghana. If they can do it from Ghana, you guys can do it from wherever you're listening to as well. So let's run it one more time and then let's get into it.
Live from London, this is the Sunday Lunch with Kalil Rouse on Teachers Talk Radio.
Good afternoon. It is now 1:15 on Sunday, the 12th of September. And you're tuned in to the Sunday Lunch Show with me, Kalil Rouse, on Teachers Talk Radio. In today's show, I've got no scheduled guests, but hopefully there'll be some live callers. Join in at any time to discuss how sociable members of SLT should be during school and also outside of school. What's it like at your school, and what do you think it should be like? Tune in and talk it out, and I'm
live from London. This is the Sunday Lunch with Kalil Rouse on Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live on the Podbean app or desktop player. Just head over to www.podbean.com/LSW/TT Radio or search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TT Radio.
Right. Welcome. All the listeners joining the studio, welcome. You're listening to Kalil Rouse on Teachers Talk Radio. And the reason we are here today is I sent a tweet out not even this afternoon, it was early this morning, 9:10 a.m. And my tweet said, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Kalil_R91. Quick plug. And my tweet said, to what extent should senior leaders socialize with non-SLT staff, both during and outside of work hours? And the second question of just what's it like at your school? And the reason this kind of came to mind, it wasn't my original plan for today's show, but it came to mind because I was having a conversation with a colleague that I've known for, about 2 years, I think. I'm in a very privileged position. I'm in a pretty much a new school. So, and I was one of the founding members of staff at this school. And I didn't join the school as a senior leader. I joined the school as a founding head of year and so on and so forth. And I'm also the I'm also the safeguarding lead. So I didn't join the school as technically a member of SLT. But recently I've got the promotion up to be officially a senior leader. Way! So that is great for my own kind of career and everything else. Blah, 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 blah. Either way, so what happened was having a conversation with a colleague of mine that I know really well. And I think as a joke, the colleague said something like, "Ooh, but now you're a senior leader. I'm surprised you still talk to me." As a joke. It was literally in jest. It wasn't any reflection on the culture of my school, but it was a joke. And that got me thinking. And I was like, well, I feel like I'm the same. Nothing's changed. Like in July 2021, I was a non-senior leader. And now September 2021, I'm technically a senior leader. But my personality, my character stayed exactly the same. But I feel like people may see me differently. I feel like I don't know if I have to carry myself differently now. It's just I just had my brain's been ticking over a little bit, and then I was having some conversations with some close people, my partner, and so on and so forth. And she's saying things like, "Oh, can't go to the pub now. You're a member of SLT," and I'm thinking, what? I'm thinking, surely not. Where is it? Show me those rules and obligations that tell me that I can't go to the. I say pub. I mean, we might call it the library every now and again, but I've already ruined the code. So I've ruined the code. I was supposed to call it the library, but now I've ruined it. But later on, I might call it library. So either way, so I was being told, no, you can't go to the library after work because you're a member of SLT. You can't do that. And I'm thinking, I don't agree. Personally, I don't agree. I don't want to be that kind of senior leader that doesn't feel like they can or doesn't feel like they want to go to the library after work. But so it just got me thinking. I thought, let me just throw it out there to the Twitter sphere, the edu Twitter gang, and so on and so forth, and see people's views. Because I also followed it up with a tweet saying that I've always been like one of the official social sex, as you would. I arranged the end of year do along with another member of staff. We arranged it for staff and so on and so forth. I'm also one of the major proponents of the library. As well, major proponent of the library, and that was the case last year. And now I don't want to be in a situation where a month has passed, and now I'm feeling like I can't do the same because my title's changed. One word has changed. So I just want to know what people think about this. And I'm not always going to talk about me the whole time. I want to know what's going on in your school. This is not a show about me. So I know there's a lot of comments in the chat. We're going to get to them in a second. And I'm also thinking about when it gets to the official staff dues, the Christmas dues, the Easter dues. Do people have Easter? People don't have Easter dues. Who celebrates Easter at work in that sense with like an Easter due? End of term dues, let's call it. Christmas, end of term, end of year. What are your own expectations for SLT attendance? Should they be the sociable leadership team or should they stay the kind of SLT that kind of separate themselves a little bit. What's it like at your school? Do you like the way it is at your school? I know in a previous school, the team, the SLT had their own night out, and then they kind of joined the main body of staff for a little bit, dabbled, and then left. Then you'd hear stories about what would go on in those. You'd hear stories about what allegedly went on in these SLT nights. And let's just say it sounded very, very interesting at the library and wherever they ended up at 2 a.m. Anyways, that was a previous school, previous life. But that was something I remember always hearing about. So that was my previous experience. They used to keep themselves very separate. And now I'm at a school that's a lot more together. And I'm just wondering what people's thoughts are on how sociable SLT should be and what's like at your school. Here's my thoughts. A lot of things going on in the chat. Karen has said congrats. I imagine that's because of my promotion. Thank you, Karen. And then I think that's either Victor or Prince asking for my number so we can talk on WhatsApp. Woo, you try to chat me up on live radio. You're trying to chat me up on live radio. I'm not going to give my number out. No offense, Victor and or Prince. But if you want to talk to me, you know where to find me. I'm here every Sunday at 1 p.m. And we can talk. But I won't be, unfortunately, I won't be giving out my number. I'm not getting chatted up. I'm not getting chatted up on live Podbean radio, but I appreciate it regardless. But yeah, if you need to get at me, you can follow me on Twitter. So at Kalil_91. More than happy to talk on Twitter, but you ain't getting my digits. You're not getting my digits. No offense. You ain't getting my digits. Then so what, I feel like Seema just finds me really funny, which is useful. Every time I see laughing faces. I'm glad you find me entertaining, Seema. Either way, Jenny said, in school, I'd love SLT to pop into staff room more often at breaks. Tends to be only on occasions, sometimes leaving, or maybe a big birthday, Christmas. It's a shame that, but I understand they're super busy. Everyone's busy. Do you know what? Even when I feel like I'm making more of an effort now to be in the staff room at break and lunch, wasn't a senior leader. I feel like now that I've got the additional title, I want to be visible, not just obviously on duty and everything else, supervising, helping staff out, supporting, putting out fires, figuratively speaking, and so on and so forth, problem solving, blah, 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 blah. But break and lunchtime, I think it's nice when you see the senior leaders in the staff room just chat about normal things. Not necessarily I don't want to be talking about like work stuff per se all the time. Just talking about normal things. We've all got hobbies and interests and more human. And I think it's a nice environment when people can spare some time to go into staff room, because I know when I wasn't a senior leader, I liked it when they were in the staff room, talked about normal things. It felt more of a team as opposed to, I think a lot of people said on Twitter, the them and us kind of culture. And that kind of divisive culture, I feel, I've not heard anyone speak positively when your leaders are so apart from their team. I feel like that's never a very productive or conducive environment to positive working or positive life at work. But that's just my opinion. And someone else has said, TSCW said, ours attends night out. Sorry, why can't I read this morning? Afternoon. What is wrong with me? Ours attends night out. Nights out. Ours attend nights out. But the head who doesn't come out, the head who doesn't come out, all 3 heads I've worked under have never. Let me know in the chat if you've seen your head at the Christmas do, please, or the end of year do. Have they shown face? I think it's nice, personally. Again, I feel like it's nice when the head teacher shows face. No one's expecting the head teacher to still be around at 2 a.m. because no one's expecting that. But I think it is nice when it's the official work do. We are a team, and I think it's nice when the leader of the team makes an appearance. Because I know what Christmas dues are normally like. There's a kind of formal bit at the beginning. There's dinners. There's stylized interactions and so on and so forth. I think the head teacher needs to be there. Later on, we know what adults can be like at the library sometimes when they've read a few too many books, if you know what I mean. Then maybe the head teacher might step out. But I think it's nice, personally, to see your leaders and their human side. And I think people, when I go through all the tweets on Twitter, well, there's no other place I'd find all the tweets. When you see all the things on Twitter, people are talking about being approachable, humanist, but kind of just showing you're human. You want to see a leadership team that you feel like you can approach in a work sense, in terms of, I need help with X, Y, Z in order to do my role correctly, but also a kind of things aren't going so well, or my own personal well-being is not great at the moment, or something's going on at home and I feel like it's affecting my work, blah, 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 blah. Those things, you should want to be able to approach your senior leadership team with that. And the best way to do that is to see them as humans and remember that they've all got lives outside of work. And I say we, it's saying we, and that we're humans and we want to be approached. I'd like to be approached and feel that people are confident and comfortable enough to approach me with their issues and problems and their issues around well-being and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, and then someone, so let me know if your head teacher's ever been on your Christmas do and what it was like for you, rhyme not intended, what it was like for you to see them there. A lot of things coming through on Twitter, all good. So I think there's another couple comments in the chat. So yeah, so Karen saying ours does but disappears early. I think that's all right. You know how Batman just leaves? I feel like if they just disappear into night, it's all right. Or more formally, they can say their goodbyes to everyone. But yeah, I think show face and leave early is not a problem. Someone said, yeah, staff room. So this is TSCW saying staff room can be difficult. Our senior and pastoral team are always taken up with students. Tell me about it and trying to maintain order. We are in a category, and then I think the message is continuing. Listen, I've worked in pastoral for now 7 years, 6 years, something years. It is busy. Like no one's expecting us to always be there. But I think even if you pop in, check everyone's all right. Everyone all right? Good weekend, blah, 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 blah. You know, those standard interactions post break. I don't know what happened to you lot, but I actively tried. I had the same, as we all do, had the same interaction straight after the summer break. Good summer. What'd you get up to? Good summer. Yeah, good summer. Yeah, great. What'd you get up to? Yeah, time of the little one. Oh, it was great. Yeah, the time of the little one. What about you? Yeah, nice. All right, thank you. And then you get to the next person. Hi, yeah, good summer. Yeah, good summer. That's what happened to me. And I think it's nice. You can have that conversation in the staff room and exchange the informalities. But I get that senior staff pastoral team, we are very, very busy. But make time for your staff and they'll appreciate it, is my opinion on that. So, yeah. We've got someone by the name of CHYKRDDR5M, which I'm assuming is random, saying going to the library after school is sometimes like unofficial therapy, a time to debrief and maybe vent a little to your peers. It's awkward to debrief in front of the members of staff whose policies are the ones directly affecting you. Yes, this is where it gets a little bit sticky. But this is it. I wish I could. I want to talk to someone. Someone call in. I want to talk to someone about this because if you're in a school where there are policies that you're not happy with, and for whatever reason, maybe you have or you haven't raised your dissatisfaction with said policies. My first question is, have you raised your dissatisfaction with said policies in a professional way with your line manager, etc.? Maybe that's the first thing you might want to do. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then that doesn't sound like a very wholesome school. But either way, it gets a bit sticky when people see the library session as a venting opportunity. Because me personally, I don't see it as a venting opportunity. I see it as a down tools and relax and put your feet up kind of opportunity to just. And one thing we did most recently, we spoke about our highlights. And it's not like a planned thing, but we were there and people were like, oh, what's your highlight of the week? What's the funniest thing that happened this week? I prefer that vibe opposed to a grumble sesh over a couple novels. Yeah, I prefer a grumble. I don't prefer a grumble sesh. But if you do see it as a grumble sesh, then yes, I can imagine being a little bit awkward when the people that are part of the team creating the policies, you wouldn't feel comfortable grumbling against them. And if you did have an issue with it, the library is not where you would raise it, is it? So I get it. I get that bit. But everyone can only speak from their own experiences. And for me personally, every time I've been at the library, this school, previous schools, never really been a grumble sesh. It's just been a positive, let's all have a joke and a laugh. It's a Friday, it's a weekend. What we doing this weekend, that's fun. That kind of environment. And I think if your library sesh is like that, then of course it's nice to have the members of SLT and such present as well, talking about their hobbies, interests, and everything else. Oh, hello, Miss Kato's. Oh, it's Miss Kato's STEM, who is Chai KRF. Fair enough. Hi, Miss Katos. I don't know why you come up as Chai. Very strange. Thank you, Miss Kato's STEM. Then we got Sobia saying, I was on holiday once. I heard my name. My SLT was on holiday with some of their middle leader friends. Ended up staying in the hotel in the same hotel as me. That's strange. Well, I say it's strange. I think it's weird. Imagine seeing like if you're not SLT, you see like SLT just walking around the swimming pool topless. I just find that strange. Male member staff I'm talking about. It's just be weird. But I think it's as weird as remember when pupils see teachers not in suits and they find it strange. I feel like it's the same when you have middle leaders or non-TLR holding teachers seeing their senior leadership team in a non-traditional environment or attire. It is weird, but we get used to it. All adults are all professionals. Surely we can deal with it. And then TSCW says, true, I will try harder. Listen, it depends. Listen, it depends on your school. If there's a lot to moan about, I'm not surprised you're doing it on a Friday. Maybe I'm just very lucky that I've worked in schools where I haven't needed to moan about that much. And it just depends on what you're if you like the vent, then fair enough. But I know sometimes venting doesn't serve the purpose of making people feel better. It can just bog people down. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on the whole process. Right. I haven't even spoken about any other tweets I got in response to this. There's also an article that I want to talk about that was shared with me on Twitter that was written by a guy called Adam Woodward. No idea if Adam is in the studio or not. Adam, if you are in the studio, give me a little wave. I can see someone called, there we go. I can see someone called Adam in the studio. Adam, listen, is this your first time? If it's your first time listening to Teachers Talk Radio, welcome. It'll be great, actually, if I'm going to go through your article. Well, I say through it. I've got your article right in front of me. It'll be very interesting if you could call in at some point, Adam, within, what we might do, was it 1:30, 1:32? What we'll do, I'm going to hear from our sponsors a little bit, which means a bit of adverts. And Adam, he's calling in now. We'll go with it. We will go with it. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Hi, Adam. Can you hear me? Hi, mate. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. No, thank you very much for referencing the article. Much appreciated.
Well, no, you need to. Well, you're very welcome. You need to definitely thank whoever your colleague or friend or whoever it was that did the plug on Twitter.
Oh, Penny. Because, she's fantastic. Yeah.
Because I was actually, you know what? Today I was doing, because when I decided this topic, I was doing a really, really kind of thorough Google search, trying to find a TES article on something very similar, but clearly my keyword searches weren't working.
Clearly, I need to make my article more visible for anyone.
But that's the thing. If saw the combinations, I was going SLT sociable, SLT friends, SLT pub, SLT outside of school.
I'll definitely change some keywords in the searches. I'll add pub and library into it.
But yeah, so a bit of context. So people that are listening, I've stumbled across an article by Adam, and it's on TES from earlier this year, and it's called "How Do You Stay Friends with Colleagues You Now Manage?" What was the inspiration here, Adam? Is this from personal experience or something you've witnessed yourself?
Yeah, personal experience actually. There was an issue when we went to remote learning. We had some members of staff, just as we were going remote learning, weren't following the policy. And it was one of those things where I'd put into place and a lot of time and effort had gone into it, and people who I'd got on well with. And then the day before we were remote learning, because a class had to isolate, they're like, oh, I don't feel confident doing this. And so came back, so like, right, okay, so supported them all the way through it. And then they went and grumbled about me to someone else when all I was trying to do was support. And it was someone who I'd got on really well with previously, and then obviously because I'd had to go and support them and put something into place and really questions, and why are you just telling me this now when you've had X amount of time to prepare and ask these questions? And they didn't like that. So obviously that comes from above, and obviously we're offering the best for the children and their outcomes, and that's the most important thing, no matter what position you are in the school. But I think when you're in a more senior and a leading position within a school, then it can be quite easy for people to see you as being too authoritarian and not caring about anyone else, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's when you have these when you've got difficult conversations as a leader, the way you manage them is crucial. And I think like what you said about always kind of tying it back to the kids rather than you don't want it ever to someone else is calling in. This has got to be interesting. We've got someone else. Hold on, Adam.
Okay.
Let's see who else is joining. Wait, let's give him a sec, see if it's connecting. Maybe not. Don't think so. Maybe not. Okay. So yeah, as I'll say, I think the way you manage these conversations is key, so they don't feel like you don't want them to feel like you're definitely not having a go, and also that you're whatever you're kind of pulling them up on, whether it's they haven't followed something, the reason why, always having to go back to, first of all, why this policy exists. If they buy into why the policy exists, then it should be a lot easier to manage the conversation if they haven't followed it. But if they, I guess you need to kind of get that buy-in before you start saying, well, you haven't followed the policy.
Yeah,
it is,
I mean, that's,
you know what I mean?
key, isn't it? So yeah, getting buy-in is essential. I suppose with remote learning and working from home and children and teachers isolating, I suppose with that it was kind of forced upon us, and that was something that had to come regardless. But I suppose there are lots of other elements to school life where getting that buy-in is going to be essential and key to the smooth running, the smooth relationships that you've got.
Yeah, definitely. So are you a senior leader at the moment?
Yes, so I'm assistant head responsible for curriculum development at my school.
Right, nice.
I joined the school as head maths, and then kind of that promotion came about. And I mean, I suppose within the article I spoke about when you're at a school for a period of time, you build up these relationships with people and you become friends with them. You go to the library after school regularly. And then, such as yourself as well, you get this promotion to a more senior position, member of SLT, and all of a sudden, the way that you could be viewed amongst your colleagues could change. And the article just talks about how you can still maintain those relationships or the other options that are maybe available to you as a leader.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, you said, I'm looking at you, said you must develop a thick skin when you know that people you regard as your friends maybe question your actions behind closed doors. And it's true.
Yeah.
I always think this, but I don't let it, I try not to let it bog me down. Because there's obviously I've been a non-SLT and I've questioned decisions being taken, and it can happen.
Yeah.
And like you said relationships should not impact negatively on your ability to lead. And I think it's check it, like you mentioned, you talk about checking in on people. I think always making sure that you want people's feedback. We want your feedback, whether it's formally through, I know I've worked in schools where they've created like actual staff feedback groups where the staff get together. So it's non-SLT members of staff will get together. They'll feedback and talk about what's going well, what they're not happy with. And then the kind of leader of the feedback group then feeds it directly to the senior leadership team, who then address it and kind of act on it. And
I think it's a great opportunity. I mean, having teacher voice across the school, the same as you would want pupil voice as well, is vital for the smooth running of how everything's going to run, because they are still your stakeholders. They're an effective stakeholder in your school, and so you want them to be happy and performing at their best. And so having a voice to be able to say what they agree with and what they don't necessarily, some things might be able to change because of that, some things might not. But I think having that opportunity to put their voice across is important. I think one thing that I've tried to do as a lead, I mean, for example, I've been in charge of putting the duty rota together, which is no easy task at the best of time.
There is no good way to put duty rates together.
But what I wanted to make sure was that I put out a rationale for the decisions that I'd made, and so a separate document explaining like why decisions have been made and put in place, and being transparent was really important to me. So teachers weren't going, "Oh, he's put me on here, and here." And so teachers knew where I was coming from, what my thought process was going through it, which, I mean, it's meant that I've had no one really coming back and saying, "Oh, I can't do this," or "I'm not doing this." It's been really helpful. Not that anyone would say I'm not doing this, but that, "Oh, I can't do this." They understand the reasons why, and it's fair for everyone. And whilst, again, you can't do that with everything, you can't rationalize everything. And every decision made in a in a school as a leader, if there are certain opportunities where you can do that, and where your colleagues can see why decisions have been made and how you've got to that decision. I think away from the confines of a private SLT meeting, then I think that helps those relationships as well, and that teachers feel more trusting of the other decisions that you're making, and realise there must be a good reason for it.
Yeah, definitely. I think transparency is key. I know in my school, the guy who's got the same kind of unenviable job of of doing duty rotas, he puts on the same spreadsheet. He uses it through Excel, and he has a kind of count, and it's really open. He just has a count of how many duties each member of staff actually has, and so you can see like the members of SLT, they've got X amount of duties more than everyone else essentially. Then as you go down through the kind of hierarchy of leadership in school, the duties reduce, and then if you're a non kind of TLR holder member of staff, you can then see, oh right, I might have 2 duties, but so and so's got a lot more, and they can
precisely
that does help. Exactly. And then I'm looking at I'm on your article because it starts talking about the social aspect as well, and that's what I was thinking about. You start mentioning the staff room, and you've obviously mentioned the library and everything else. So how do you deliberately make your way to the staff room, or do you think are you too busy, or is it a conscious decision to be there or not be there? What are your
that's a tricky one. I mean, I try to be as visible as possible, and always I go around the school when I'm on a non-teaching day, as it were. I always make sure that I see everyone at some point and ask them how they are, whether getting into the staff room again through, I'm trying to do, going back to duty, I try to do more duties than most. So then most of the time, rather than being in the staff room, I'm normally outside doing a role that someone else can then have a cup of tea during that time. But making yourself visible and just asking people, spending just 2 minutes saying, how are you? How are things going? I think can really mean the world to some people and really affect their day in a positive way. But I've known of some people, and I think actually there was a couple who replied to your thread earlier saying that they were actively encouraged not to go to the staff room as a member of SLT and really separate themselves. And I don't think that leadership and say just a teaching role, that's the wrong way to put it, but I don't think that they should be separated. I think you're working together, and you can't have an effective running school if you've got, in my view, if you've got that separation there, because you've got your middle leaders who are in charge, who are responsible for disseminating messages from the senior leaders down to the teaching staff and vice versa. And if it's broken in the middle, as Simon Sinek has said before, then you're not going to be running effectively. And I think if you've got that separation there and being told to avoid going into those social situations, I don't see how you can have a coherently running school, in my view.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've been fortunate. I've not worked well. This is the first time I've been in a senior role, but I've not heard of anyone making such demands from the principal. It'd be interesting if I ever came across that in my kind of career. Knowing me, I would politely and professionally ask for the rationale behind it.
Exactly. Maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason for it, and if there is a good enough reason, then fair enough. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think as to what that reason could possibly be.
Yeah, neither can I. I think what you said in your article when you mentioned when you said outside of school, it's important to keep discussions away from work topics. I think is crucial, especially because I think the separation. I think a lot of people are tweeting about it. I try to switch my brain completely, and if I ever speak about anything work related outside of school in a social aspect, it's about the funny things kids do, or it's about the, do you know what I mean, or it's about really highlight or something that just humorous that happened during the week, as opposed to this meeting we had or something like. Why I wouldn't want to speak about that it's
easy to do. I mean, I think it's easy to have those conversations because that's what you've got in common. In a social element, you're all teachers and you all work in the same school, and that's what you've got in common. But I mean, the article started by speaking about like the existing relationships that you've got and the issues that can come between if one person is made more senior than another. And I think, yeah, that's where the I mentioned about just separating social and work, because you obviously became good friends in the first place outside of school and have a social interaction away from school as well. So hopefully, even if one is more senior than the other, you should still be able to have that in common and be able to speak about something away from work as well.
Yeah, we've got some comments in the chat. So Veronica said, it's so important SLT are part of the whole staff room, socialize, be approachable, etc. We're all human. And the moment SLT make that divide, trouble is brewing. And Sobia said, this is an interesting one. Sobia said, be friendly, not friends. Yes. I think I get exactly what you mean, but at the same time, I find it, because in my experience, so like I said, my school started with about 20 members of staff, literally. And this was a couple of years ago. So, and I try to always I still separate kind of work from friends work from my colleagues from being like, I don't know if any of them are listening now, but this might sound a bit harsh. But it's like, I hope they're not going to get offended. What I mean is, for example, let me phrase this properly. Like, I don't have any of my colleagues on my Instagram, for example, and I didn't have that from when I first started. It's been a thing that I've kind of employed for the last few years. I was like, you know what? Instagram is not a professional platform at all for me. Therefore, do you know what? I'm all right to not have my colleagues on my Instagram. My Twitter's a bit different. It's an open Twitter account anyway, so anyone can follow me. But I don't actively follow my colleagues on social media either. As much as we get along and everything else, I've got a lot of time for them. We do have different occasions where we meet up in the holidays and stuff. So I guess there is I would consider some of them my friends. But at the same time, they're I'm always a weird one. I don't know.
I'd be more than happy to go to and well, speaking from when I was a lot less experienced, when I was in a classroom teacher role, I'd be more than happy to go for a pint on a Friday with my head teacher. I probably wouldn't arrange to meet up at the weekend and go on family trips out, and I probably wouldn't go clubbing until 3:30 in the morning with them either. So yeah, I completely get that. Be friendly, not friends. I think that's kind of like your happy medium, isn't it? And that you can still be sociable. You don't have to separate yourselves, but it doesn't mean that you need to, I suppose, share each other's life stories and be best men and maids of honor at each other's weddings because of it.
Yeah, I guess it's all defined by how your interactions are. I guess, like you said, at the weekend and the evenings, do you message via WhatsApp and everything else in the evenings on a kind of friendship level, or is it kept to working hours? I think I'm more the kind of kept with, well, definitely I only interact kind of between working hours. But then the question becomes why cut? But then I'm assuming Sobia is saying, as SLT, be friendly, not friends. Or Sobia, are you saying teachers in general should be friendly and not friends? That's my question to you, Sobia. That's a bit of clarity.
Yeah, I think if something, I think she's going to say best to be professional and keep yourself safe. I think, yeah, if, for example, if you are really close friends with a colleague and you're a senior leader, and then they know too much about you, I don't know whether I'm phrasing this right, and then you have to have a difficult conversation with them. It's like, well, I know this about you, blah blah, and I don't know. I suppose it muddies the waters, and that's a real probably extreme case. And I would like to think that no one would use a friendship or a relationship in that way, but I suppose you can never tell. I think from that comment, I can get that to a certain extent, but going back and saying that you can be friendly. You don't have to separate yourselves, but you don't necessarily have to be friends with colleagues either.
I feel like grilling Sobia a little bit. So Sobia, so scenario. So let's say these one or two teachers that you're friends with, if one of them or you then became a member of SLT, would you expect your friendship to then become to break off and transform into strictly professional? That's my question to you, Sobia. I'm just wondering. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, because you're saying professional. I get that, but if you were friends before, literally friends, like besties, She said no, still friendship but ethical leadership. Okay. Okay, I get. Yeah, still friendship but ethical leadership. Agreed. I think there needs to be definitely kind of a mutual understanding, and you would hope that adults would do this. A mutual understanding of the way you interact in professional circumstances, even if it's just you guys, but you're in the staff room, you may interact differently to how you're going to interact on a Saturday. If you are friends to that extent, you would hope and expect that two adults would be able to have that mutual understanding. You'd hope, but listen, as they say in safeguarding, it could happen here, so you never know what could go. You never know what could happen. Do you know what, Adam? Because based on, I've got certain what's the word I want? Responsibilities I need to do with regards to kind of like advertising and news and the such like. Otherwise, Mr. Tom Rogers will have a go at me and will slate me on social media. So what I'm gonna do, Adam, do you know what? Feel free to call in later on, but I'm gonna have to run some news, listen to the sponsors, make me pay the bills and that kind of stuff. But all I can say is thank you so much for, first of all, yes, coming on the show, tuning in, contributing. It's been great being able to have a nice discussion with you on this lovely Sunday afternoon.
It's been brilliant. Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for sharing the article as well. I'll post it on Twitter again this afternoon in case anyone wants to have a read themselves. But thank you very much for having me.
No worries. Yeah, just a quick plug for you, Adam. So the article is on TES and it's called How Do You Stay Friends with Colleagues You Now Manage? You can search that on Google and you'll be able to find that article from Adam. Thank you very much. Adam, I'm going to disconnect you now.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Every teacher loves stationery, right? Imagine getting a selection of fun, beautiful and unique stationery items designed and selected especially for teachers, delivered through your door every month. You need to check out teacherslovestationery.club.
I'm always so excited when the box arrives. It's such a treat.
My Teachers Love Stationery Club box is just a little treat to myself every month.
It's always full of delightful and surprising items, including some really good quality stationery brands like Faber-Castell and Stabilo.
And because you never know what you're going to get, it makes it even more fun and special when you get it.
It feels really great to be supporting a family business that's run by real teachers. I can't help feeling like they just know what I'm going to enjoy using stationery-wise better than I do myself.
Visit teacherslovestationery.club and enter code TT Radio when you buy your first stationery box to save £2 today. teacherslovestationery.club.
That advert was a lot shorter than I expected. I thought we've got a number of adverts. Now, my volume's just gone up. Sorry, I imagine I'm very loud at the moment. We've got a couple of adverts, and I thought that was a longer one, but it's not. It's a shorter one. Either way, welcome. Well, I say welcome back. If you've been in the studio the whole time, thank you for staying on. I was just going through my Twitter at the time, and I got a little bit distracted, if I'm honest, because someone replied on Twitter to my original tweet when I said, to what extent should senior leaders socialize, blah, blah, blah. This guy's response was, should is a weird word in this question. And that's it. So I was mid-replying, being like, what are you on about? What? Feel free to replace it with something. But yeah, so why is your response to a tweet to criticize the wording of the tweet? Just answer the question, man. Or don't, maybe that's the way my brain, just answer the question. Or don't answer the question. Like, just leave it. Should is a weird word in this question. All right, mate. Well, please go on and let me know how I should have worded the tweet to suit you, because I'm always open to feedback. I'm always open to feedback. Either way, what time is it now? It's 1:54, and we're just joined by Adam, who'd written an article on TES on a very similar topic. And I've realized I've not gone through any of the tweets from the people that responded, because there's a lot of feedback I got after my question. If you just joined, you're listening to Teachers Talk Radio, and it's a Sunday lunch show with yours truly, Mr. Kalil Rouse. If you've enjoyed the show and you've just joined, you can listen back to this and any of our other shows via ttradio.org/listen back. There's an abundance of shows for all things connected to teaching education. So many. There's a plethora. My favorite word. That's one of those words I discovered during like GCSE time and used to always pop it into my essays. I don't know about you, like plethora was one of those words I always used to use because I thought it'd just get me a couple more marks. But either way, there's an abundance of Teachers Talk radio shows out there to suit everyone's interests. Head to ttradio.org, and you can even go to listen back. You can search keywords. You can search my name or other hosts' names, and then you can see their previous shows. Or we're on Spotify, and I think we're also on Apple, wherever the Apple podcast equivalent is. I can't remember what it's even called, if I'm honest, I've forgotten. But we're on most podcast platforms, so please do have a look. Yeah, I've had about 3 callers in, which is wonderful. For any point you want to call in and share or disagree or tell me I'm talking nonsense, and please do. Just going to go through some tweets of what people said. So a couple people, someone said that they agree with the comments about people being equal. They enjoy it when SLT mix or organize events. That's interesting. I think I was speaking to someone on Twitter about SLT organizing staff well-being events. And I think that's nice. One of the best days I had in my previous school was when they used to bring an ice cream van before a staff briefing, just in the playground outside. That was sensational. Just little things like that. SLT, and then everyone's just there. No one can be professional with a blooming 99 flake in their hand. It's a nice sociable environment. You can't take anything too seriously when everyone's eating ice cream and whatever else. And it's nice way towards the end of the term to, again, everyone's mixing, talking about whatever over an ice cream or two. And I think that's useful. And I think someone on Twitter was also talking about SLT arranging. They said massages. And they had to follow it up with a caveat that it was done by professional masseurs. Massagers. What's the masseurs or masseuses? Mate, what's a plural of? So someone that massages is a masseur or a masseuse. But then is there a generic plural for if you don't have to make it gender specific? Anyone know? I do wonder. Masseurs. Either way. Side note, tangent as always. But yeah, they'll talk about how the SLT arranged for massages to take place with some professionals and some other staff well-being activities and so on and so forth. And I think that generates a really nice environment for both the senior leaders and also for their team that they guide and manage everything else. One of my good kind of acquaintances on social media, on Twitter, said that he thinks it depends on the school and the general relationship with SLT and the school stuff. Definitely school culture plays a massive part in this. In the hashtag, or not hashtag, inverted commas, toxic schools, you're not likely to have SLT mixing very much with non-SLT, because chances are non-SLT members have a lot to say about what SLT are doing, because no one's happy in those environments. So I imagine you're not going to have much mixing in a social sense, and you may get the kind of SLT only nights out or SLT only dinners. And I was behind the mic doing lots of gestures, as if you guys can see me, and you can't. But I was doing a lot of hand gestures. So yeah, and if you don't feel comfortable with SLT, he goes on to say, if you don't feel comfortable with SLT in school, you're not going to feel comfortable with them on a social night. But having said that, socials can also build relationships. Definitely, I feel like most recently, because me personally anyway, I've been so busy since we come back to school in my safeguarding role. I've been in my office a lot. This Friday just gone was the first time I'd actually spoken at length to some of the new staff that we've got at school. And it was nice to be able to speak to them in just a normal human way. And it's not about policies and procedures and deadlines. It's just about getting to know people and what they're all about outside of the teaching. Well, that was nice. It was pleasant. I think hopefully they felt the same way getting to know me, because before then, all they've seen was me leading sessions or having my teacher face on when the kids are around, or being very serious. So it was nice to be able to, I haven't got any hair, but let my hair down a little bit and just talk to them on a nice human level. I don't know what happened after I left. Maybe they grumbled, who knows? But yeah, like Adam was saying, you need some thick skin and all. I don't bog myself down with that kind of stuff. If they've got something to say that's formative and constructive, then I think we've got the right culture in school for them to feel like they can approach either us or their line manager, who could then approach us, so on and so forth. Either way, we move on. So then we've got another comment in there, another tweet that says, this is from a former host, Mr. Carl Graham. Shout out to you, Carl, if you ever do listen back to the show. And Carl was saying that I think if there's an expectation that you don't mix, it's a place you don't want to work. So we had someone mentioning that in their school, a head teacher dictated to their senior leadership team that they were not to mix in the staff room, on social occasions. I don't know the rationale. I'm not aware, but I'd like to know the rationale. If anyone can think of a rationale as to why you wouldn't want your SLT to even be in the staff room at the same time, wowzers. And actually, no, just we're saying this now. The other tweet came from someone who's saying that they were advised to not even go to the staff room, let alone for a word. It's a 4-letter word starting with B, but I'm gonna change it for being a book. But it's a different 4-letter word that starts with a B. They're saying can't go to staff room, let alone go out for a book. Distance was important, and they were also told that SLT were their team, and they said that they struggled with this. They felt that the whole staff body were their team, with different groups within it. They understand about having to give space and loyalty decisions, and then their tweet literally ends with a but ... and they left me on a suspense. What's it called? And oh my, what's it called? What's it called when you're left a cliffhanger? Left on a cliffhanger because they said but ... and never continued. And then someone responded saying, "I'm with you and against the authoritarian. I can't read today. Management culture that has grown up in schools. But then, in an educational context, I only respect authority that is based on intellect, whether the owner of that intellect is a TA or an HMI." So he's just saying he respects authority when he feels like it's coming from a reputable source. Doesn't matter if you've got a title, a kind of senior leader title or not. Everyone has got a valid point to make. I think that's crucial. In a school, I imagine everyone want to work in a school where your opinions, your wishes, your views are valued regardless of your title. I am not, as a senior leader, I'm not more important than you when it comes to your views. I may have the kind of last say and have the responsibility to have to make the last decision based on everyone's kind of input, but I don't see myself as more important than anyone else in terms of my own opinion on things. I'm not going to not listen to someone just because they're, inverted commas, beneath me in the hierarchy. I don't like that at all. I've had a lot of years not being a member of SLT to know what I liked and didn't like about the way they operated, to now hopefully be a member of the senior leader team that I would have liked to work with, if that makes sense. But yeah, Sobia says agreed. Yes, clap, clap, clap. Thank you, Sobia. I don't know what you're agreeing with, but I said a lot of stuff there. But thank you very much, Sobia. Then a couple other tweets. I say couple, there's loads of tweets. Where else was there? So yeah, can you imagine? Someone flipped the question back on me. I was like, how dare you? This ain't my, I said, I'm the one asking the questions. So they flipped the question back on me. And they said, do you want to be approachable? Do you want good relationships with your teams? I've worked in both environments, and it's an SLT who socialize in staff rooms and nights out that are approachable and whom I have a good working relationship with. So in answer to your question, do I want to be approachable? Yes. Do I want good relationships with my team? Yes, indeed. And I do like I said, I operate in a way that I would have liked SLT to have operated in my previous schools. What I'm going to do now again, so we're going to head to another little advert break so we can pay the bills, and we'll come back to this question on the other side. And hopefully someone calls in, just like Adam did before. It's easy. Just call in and we'd have a nice little chat as I go through the latter tweet on this topic to see what you guys think. It'll be interesting to know what goes on in your school as well. Don't have to name your school or anything like that, but is there an SLT divide in your school? And how does it, if there is, are you all right with it? If there isn't, are you all right with it? And so on and so forth. Let me know what it's like in your school. Of course, if you don't want me to name your name, I can keep you anonymous. I'll just read your comments out. But yeah, because I just want to know what it's like in other people's schools, because I've only worked in 3 schools. So I've got a very narrow experience in the grand scheme of things. Either way, that's enough from me for now.
Creative Resources, made for teachers by teachers. At Creative Resources, we've been rethinking what a classroom can be. We've created a huge range of more than 2,500 original and exciting resources that span across more than 15 different subject areas. Whether you're looking for primary or secondary level resources, careers options, PSHE, arts or humanities, Creative Resources have the resources for you. We offer full curriculum packages and unique, challenging escape rooms themed on topics such as Shakespeare, Tudors, and fractions. We have quizzes, task cards, Tarsier puzzles, and lots more. Better still, more than 100 resources can be accessed for free. Just visit our website www.cre8tiveresources.com. You can get 10% off any order you make on our website by using the discount code TTRadio. Creative resources made for teachers by teachers. Every teacher loves stationery, right? Imagine getting a selection of fun, beautiful, and unique stationery items designed and selected especially for teachers, delivered through your door every month. You need to check out teacherslovestationery.club.
I'm always so excited when the box arrives. It's such a treat.
My Teachers Love Stationery Club box is just a little treat to myself every month.
It's always full of delightful and surprising items, including some really good quality stationery brands like Faber-Castell and Stabilo.
And because you never know what you're going to get, it makes it even more fun and special when you get it.
It feels really great to be supporting a family business that's run by real teachers. I can't help feeling like they just know what I'm going to enjoy using stationery-wise better than I do myself.
Visit teacherslovestationery.club and enter the code TTRadio when you buy your first stationery box to save £2 today. teacherslovestationery.club. Introducing the Leadership Masterclass series by Diana Osagi. Learn how to ditch your fears and develop your leadership confidence. How to deal with difficult colleagues. How to thrive when you lead in a challenging environment. And how to get colleagues to buy into your vision. Join Diana for her online leadership masterclasses starting on the 10th of July and running all the way through the summer. These sessions are the perfect way to prepare and refresh for the next academic year and beyond. Book your place at courageousleadership.co.uk/events now. The first 50 leaders to sign up get an additional free mini coaching session with Diana herself. Don't miss this. Courageous Leadership Masterclasses at courageousleadership.co.uk/events.
And we're back again. Welcome back to the Sunday Lunch Show with Kalil Rouse on Teachers Talk Radio. If you've just joined the live studio, welcome. But where have you been? We are nearing the kind of end of today's show. We've been talking about whether the S in SLT should stand for sociable. That's basically what I'm saying. Should it be the sociable leadership team? Which doesn't mean that they're always, I'm going to get to some tweets that tickled me today. But basically, it's just about how sociable the SLT members should be during school, outside of school, and so on and so forth. Staff room, during break time, lunchtime, work nights out, library session on the Friday, how many books they should consume before leaving, that kind of stuff. So yeah, rattling back through some tweets. This one kind of took me aback a little bit. So this person said that all our SLT offices are so far away from the classrooms and staff room that an actual bomb would have to go off before they noticed anything. Separate building completely. And they never visit the staff room. I wouldn't recommend as a management style. Staff don't feel supported. Wowzers. Who designed that? Who designed that? What kind of nonsense? I do not agree with an SLT building. What's that about? I think you should have those. I like SLT offices that are in the thick of it. I like SLT, like in the thick of it. I think I work, like I said, one of my previous schools, we had like a main kind of atrium where loads of students kind of congregated, and the SLT offices were like around there, in the thick of it, making sure that they were on hand to support and everything else if they needed to, rather than hidden away in a corner, being able to bury their head in their work and forget about their staff body that need them just as much. Well, I say, yeah, staff will that need them just as much as the students do. Yeah, so then next, these ones are mentioned. Someone said that they think it depends on the school. Of course it does. One school, the SLT would leave early at the Christmas do to allow staff to relax. That's interesting. Do you guys feel in your kind of work? Do you feel on edge, a bit awkward when SLT are there? Me again, so I'm in a unique position. I don't feel awkward at all. Maybe because I don't talk about work on these Christmas dues, and even when before, we're talking years ago when I was a member of SLT, I didn't feel awkward. Like I said, I liked it. I liked, especially if they were kind of, you realize a sense of humor, and you just get to know them as a person, and not just as a member of the SLT team. Get to know them as a human being. Not say I'm going to now go out for a drink with them one-to-one, but it's nice to just talk about normal things. And this tweet goes on to say, in another school, the SLT had their own clique. They did their own stuff, apparently with staff who would be fast-tracked to promotion. Nepotism, I hear you say. And apparently can cause friction when the SLT are a little bit cliquey. I don't think that's positive personally, but again, Lemon, what's it like at your school? Would you say that your SLT are a bit cliquey? SLT nights out, SLT this, SLT that? Because it's like whose relationship needs to be more. I don't know what word I want. Coherent. Don't know what. I don't know if I want that. But the SLT, surely the SLT to middle leadership relationship is the one that's really important. Obviously, you want a coherent relationship with your other members of the senior team. But I worked in schools where there are grumbles and problems within SLT, and people know that there are issues, and that's not pleasant at all. But surely you want to do whatever you can to make sure the working relationship between SLT and MLT is as productive as possible. And I think that is helped by they don't need to be friends. I think, like Sober said, they don't need to be friends, but just have a relationship or an interaction that is always work. Shout out to Rihanna. It isn't always about work. That's just me. Like, I feel like I've got a new view on education. I mean, I see a lot of issues with schooling systems and stuff, but I don't want it to always be about Rihanna, if you know what I'm talking about. Who gives me a microphone and says, you know what, you can talk for an hour and a half with no one telling you what to say? I should not be given this freedom. Either way, nice to meet you. We've got someone in the studio called I don't know how to pronounce your first name, but it's spelled Mucyo. You're teaching Rwanda. I love how much we go global, especially to Africa as well. And Sobi says, yes, our head does that. Problem is, I don't know which bit you're talking about. I think it's about separating themselves a little bit, potentially. I'm not sure which bit so I didn't read it when you sent it, so I apologize. Leave. There we go. Leaving work dues. Yeah, I have no issue with that personally. I think if your head teacher turns up to the work due and they stay for the first little bit and then they go off, I think that's fine. I think that's a nice balance, because as I was saying on Twitter, I think I was actually talking to Karen. I think I was talking to Karen on Twitter, because some people, some people when they've read too many books, their mouth can run away with them sometimes. And you don't want to be in a situation where, where someone's become a little bit loose-lipped after one too many novella. You wouldn't want that kind of situation. And you want to be, so I think it makes sense for your principal, your head teacher to maybe not be there at those kind of closing hours. I know libraries can be open for quite a while. You can have 24/7 libraries. People want to stay for ages. I think it's worthwhile that the principals and other senior leaders maybe nip off a little bit earlier, because who knows what people say. People get very colorful with their language when they've read so many books. Anyways, couple more before we kind of close this up. I might not make it. We might not go to 2:30 in the end, because I feel like it's coming to a natural end soon. Then we've got, what's this? Someone said, when I started, head teachers did not go into staff rooms. That's like a deliberate decision. Acceptance of distance is one of the costs of promotion. Formal social events is one thing, generally okay, but obvious friends with other staff is open to ill feeling and kind of favoritism, or what people could interpret it as favoritism. And you wouldn't want that. I think someone earlier in the chat was saying that when kind of familiarity turns into favoritism or cronyism, which is a great word, I think that's important. You don't want anyone to feel like they've got favorites, or people are getting off lightly for making the same mistake as someone else did just because you're Billy best mates, if you know what I mean. Yeah, head teacher and staff from never. Someone else responded saying head teachers in the staff room never a problem. One I worked with knew he was strongly disliked, marginally hated by many staff, and for good reason. He always bought 2 tickets for social events and did not attend. So apparently, yeah. So the head teacher knew he was disliked, marginally hated by many staff, and for good reason. He always bought tickets, so he contributed financially to the social occasion, but then didn't turn up because he knew he wasn't liked. So yeah, that says more about the head teacher than it does about the members of staff, by the sounds of it. Yeah, this was one that had there was a little back and forth on this one. Someone commented saying, I think everyone should be free to mix, but I also think any work night out is still work, and recognizing when it's time to cash in your chips and quit the table is a great to home. Is a work night out still work? Or is it a night out with work? You get what I mean? The nuances. Is it a work night out or is it a night out with work? In your opinion? Because this person was saying a work night out is still work, therefore you still got that dynamic is still there. And then someone else responded saying, I don't disagree, but a work night out is a night out, definitely not work. Let me know what you guys think and what the differences are, the little nuances there. On a work night out, I'm basically saying on a night out with work, I definitely wouldn't be talking about anything work related. I'd actively avoid it. Personally. I think that's an important distinction to make. Veronica has commented saying, how can staff create more empathy for each other? So SLT for teaching why can't I speak today? SLT for teaching staff and vice versa if they don't spend time together. Yeah, I agree. If your only interactions are the line management meetings let's go with that. If your only interaction with someone is a line management meeting and never a kind of casual check-in or a casual conversation about what they got up to or whatever else, just getting to know them as a person. If your only interaction is business, then you're never. I feel like it does hinder a positive work culture. I feel like it does. TSCW has said it's a night out with work. Just don't dance on the tables and you'll be okay. That's it. I hear you. Someone said on Twitter, they were saying there was a funny meme or gif someone put. Yeah, here it is. They said what did they say? They said who is it? In a much more settled school, I think it's good for staff to see SLT as human beings, as long as the SLT don't get totally mashed up. That's what the person said. As long as that is a thing, isn't it? You don't want to. When you see a member of your senior leadership team significantly engrossed in their books, it does create. There is an impression there, isn't there? But why? They're not at work. But this is where I'm like, there is. I think naturally, and I'm guilty of it as well. If I'm in my previous school, I always talk about my previous school. I remember seeing members of the senior leadership team very much heavily engrossed in their books, And I used to always think back in my mind, oh, that's not a good look. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm looking back, being like, do you? As long as you don't say anything or do anything that's completely inappropriate and the such like, I don't know. This is me being like this is a genuine stream of consciousness here. And I'm thinking, should I be judging them? Or should I just let them do them? And they're enjoying. They deserve a night out too. They deserve to let loose. When I say let loose, to just let their hair down a little bit. But just because you're SLT, you can't be too engrossed in your books. Why? I don't know. I'm just asking. I haven't got an opinion yet. I'm just throwing it out there. Can anyone justify why that's the case? In other lines of work, is this the case? In the big city centers? Is it the case that would you think less of your CEO or your line manager if you saw them totally engrossed in their books on an evening? I do wonder. I feel like we do, but should we? Yeah, and then a couple more. We're gonna wrap it up. What is it? Couple more. Someone said, oh no, I feel like I just went back. We're still here. We're good. I think I've done it once before. I've accidentally gone back a page and ended the whole show. So lucky I haven't done that yet. So someone said, blimey, everyone is equal. Senior leaders are human beings. That's nice and succinct. And then one that got a few likes as well to finish off. They said, as normal, why should things have to change when someone becomes SLT? The funny part is a lot of non-SLT are as qualified as SLT, so why would you treat them any differently? Everyone is equal, or so they should be. Just be yourself. People will respect you more for it in the long run, I think. Smiley face, love heart emoji, and then a green clover. And I think we're going to end it there on a nice little positive note. Everyone's equal, a nice positive note. Thank you to everyone that contributed to the show. Thank you again to Adam and Victor and Prince who called in earlier. If you've just joined and you think, oh, do you know what? I would like to listen back to this guy. Maybe he sounds quite interesting. Then by all means, you can find this show will go live on, well, not live, will go as a podcast on Spotify within about 20 minutes. You could also head to ttradio.org/listen back and you'll be able to find the Sunday lunch show with Kalil. That'll be up live again within about 20 minutes or so. And yeah, follow me on Twitter if you would like to interact with me more. It's at Kalil, KALIL_R91. Of course, follow TT Radio 2021 on Twitter as well. And thank you very much for everyone's contributions to what has hopefully been an engaging and interesting discussion on how social SLT should be. On that note, I'm going to go to the closing, and who knows what I'm going to say at the end of that, because if you've listened to me before, I usually say some nonsense, some nonsense at the end. But cheers, guys. Hope you have a good rest of your Sunday.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.
I've actually got nothing to say. I was, you know what, as it was going on, I was thinking, sugar, have I got anything that's vaguely entertaining? And I thought, nah, I don't have anything to say. But thank you, guys. Same time next week. I've got 2 guests on next week. I'm going to be talking about safeguarding. I'm also a DSL. I'm going to talk about safeguarding. And I think some more stuff about equality and that kind of stuff. But if you've enjoyed the show, share and share alike. And I'll see you same time next week. Adios.